This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company and Purdy Insurance. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Purdy Insurance and Sunbury Motor Company. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And the half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf online, sunburymotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, the best in new inventory. And it's great inventory. I can tell you firsthand. Great pre-owned inventory, Sunbury Motors guarantee. They go over every vehicle. Great service department that makes it one-stop shopping. Quick lane inspections, routine, difficult, all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf online, sunburymotors.com. We've been keeping you up to date on basketball scores in the tournaments, and then the big story around here is going to be hockey the next few days, both men's and women's ice hockey. And we'll get to that in a second. Here are the tournament updates. NC State leads Pitt 94-85 with under 2 minutes to play. Iowa State's going to move on in the Big 12. They're clobbering Arizona State 60-27 at the under 12. Kentucky and LSU are fighting back and forth here. Kentucky leads at 68-64 with 10 minutes to play. Remember, LSU won 3 SEC games this year. Kentucky is having to fight their way through the opening round. Let's see. And Maryland, let's see. Iowa beat Maryland 75-64. St. Bonaventure beat LaSalle 99-80. Just underway, Prairie View in the SWAC quarterfinal leads Bethune-Cookman 6-4. And that's early, 17 minutes to go in the first half. Also 17 minutes ago in the first half, A-10 opening round in Pittsburgh. Richmond leads Loyola of Chicago 8-6. It's usually in these tournaments where I start to find out who's in what conference. I mean, I know that when Penn State plays them, I always put a conference marker on my chart. But when you sit there and go, okay, like some of these other conferences, okay, so Loyola Chicago's in the Atlantic 10. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right. Which schools are looking for jobs? UNC Greensboro, Tarleton State, Louisiana Monroe, Arkansas Little Rock, St. Bonaventure, Oregon State. It looks like Justin Joyner, the Michigan assistant's the favorite there. Oregon State, Providence, Kansas State, Georgia Tech, Boston College, and now Syracuse. As Red Autry was fired today. And Siena has this coach named Jerry McNamara that might be very interesting at Syracuse. We'll see. All right. Now let's get to the NFL. Oh, it's wild and woolly. So here are some of the moves that have been made. Daniel Jones had a transition tag put on him. He signs with the Colts, 2-year deal, $88 million. He can get incentives to $100. Trey Hendrickson gets a 4-year deal, $112 million with the Ravens after the Max Crosby deal went bye-bye. K'Lavon Chasen, 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders, $12 million, rush edge. And Jared Goff's contract renegotiated. They're converting his $40 million salary into a signing bonus, which can be spread out over multiple years. They added a void year to his contract, and it frees up $42 million in cap space. He's not the only one where they restructured. We already know Patrick Mahomes did that, but Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen also did that to free up cap space. Jackson's restructure frees up $40 million in cap space for the Ravens. Allen's restructure saves the Bills $12 million. And Max Crosby's now headed back to Las Vegas, but they're still getting calls about him. Okay. And then there's Thanksgiving. You know what Thanksgiving used to be? Way back in the day. Because I played on Thanksgiving. High school football. Some great high school football rivalries. I mean, I'm not sure, did Shikellamy and Selinsgrove play on Thanksgiving? Trying to think. Somebody who knows better than I will call and tell me. But we had two high schools at my time when I was growing up. Now there's only one that doesn't have the young population in it that it used to have. And so we would always play our crosstown rival on Thanksgiving morning at 10 o'clock. One of the great traditional ones was Phillipsburg, New Jersey against Easton, Pennsylvania, always on Thanksgiving. Forget it. Guess who wants Thanksgiving? The NFL, and they want days of it. Thanksgiving weekend. They're now exploring the possibility of playing a game on Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah. They would pick two teams that would be coming off byes, so they're not sitting there with a short week. The last time there was a regularly scheduled Wednesday game that wasn't a holiday, because this is Thanksgiving Eve, so because those two Christmas Day games were holiday games. All right? The last time they had a regularly scheduled Wednesday NFL game that was not a holiday or a reschedule was 1948. And it wasn't the NFL. It was the All-American Football Conference. It was the New York Yankees against the Los Angeles Dons. So what the NFL wants to do is this. They want to play a game on Wednesday of Thanksgiving, in all likelihood with two teams coming off byes. They would then play 3 games on Thanksgiving Day. They'd play at least one game, maybe 2 on Friday, Black Friday. No game Saturday because the NFL has standards. We'll leave that to college football. Kind of chokes you up when you think about it. Then have a full schedule of whatever's left on Sunday plus a Monday night game. So in the 6 days surrounding Thanksgiving, from Wednesday to Monday, the NFL would play on 5 of the days. Holy cow. So, the NFL, you have to give them credit. They're about the money, and if it means scorched earth, they're fine with it. Again, they're about money, and they could care less if you're critical of it. They prefer a scorched earth policy. Yeah. They don't care if you're critical of it. What do they care? They're laughing all the way to the bank. And they wanted to renegotiate their TV deals. You know what really triggered the NFL on the TV deal? When they found out that NBC was paying more for its NBA package, which includes Sunday night basketball. And guess what? They're paying more for Sunday night basketball than they are for Sunday night football. And the two are not even in the same ballpark at all on TV ratings. They're not even close. But they're paying more for the NBA and the NFL. The NFL goes, that's not how it works. So they want to renegotiate. Is Dave on the line? Do we have Dave already? Or Kevin texted me he's going to be calling out. Gotta give Kevo credit. He does circle of fogged in airport. But that was back in the day. High school football was on Thanksgiving. Now, with playoffs, there is no rarely any high school football. Very rare now. Dave, give us a little primer on what high school football was like on Thanksgiving in the Valley here.
Well, the biggest games in my time in the area was before Shikellamy became Shikellamy. They were made up of the Northumberland and the Sunbury School District, and it was between Northumberland and Sunbury, and that was probably one of the greatest rivalries around. And I know that Cole Township used to play Mount Carmel, and later on Shamokin played Mount Carmel, and it was games everybody talked about. They kept different records for those games. It didn't matter what the records of each individual team was. It's which team had won the most Thanksgiving Day games, the big rivalries. I was pretty young. For the Sunbury Northumberland game, but I can still remember the excitement. And then, of course, later on, as I started playing football and I went to college and came back and taught and coached, those games always came up. All right, they always came up. It was just one of those great traditions that were here that has ended basically because of the PIAA playoffs.
Yeah. Did Berwick play or Danville play anybody?
I'm not sure. All right, Berwick might have played Nescopec. That was before Nescopec went in with Berwick. That might have been a rivalry. I think it was, and that's something that I'm not 100% sure of, but I think I heard about that. All right, and Berwick was a little bigger than Nescopec, just like Sunbury was bigger than Northumberland, and the Cole Township area might have been a little bit bigger than Mount Carmel area. But it didn't matter when those games were on. Kind of records and size and the whole business was thrown out the window.
Yeah, and I know the playoffs have played a role in no more Thanksgiving Day games. I mean, when I played, like I mentioned, we played our crosstown rival on Thanksgiving morning at 10 o'clock, and we usually had between 10 and 15,000 people at the game for that game. But we didn't have a state tournament then either. We didn't have that. So, because we didn't have that, we just have rankings. We didn't have a tournament.
The biggest thing in our area was the Eastern Conference, the Northern and the Southern Division. Most of the schools east of the Susquehanna covered the Wilkes-Barre area along with the Cole region, and it was that was what I would call that was our PIAA playoff. The only problem was you had to have a great season in order to get into the playoffs, and most times it was just the final championship game. So that's why I think these games were so important to the people. I did a little research. I went back and my friends and I, we got together and we talked about one of the years we played football. It was when I was a junior, and I went back and I had all the articles, and I was looking at the attendance at all the games. These were just normally Friday night games, and Sunbury would pull between 5,000 and 8,000 people for those games. When we played Mount Carmel, it went up to 10,000. I am positive that when Sunbury played Northumberland or Shamokin played Mount Carmel, that you probably would be hard-pressed to find a seat. And plus, they always talked about, around the football field and in the end zone, people standing like 2 or 3 people deep. I can remember that when I was a kid, and I haven't seen that since, but I would imagine back in the days of the Thanksgiving Day games, that was it. You played the game in the morning, and then everybody went home and had Thanksgiving dinner.
Well, that's what we did. We played at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 1:30 in the afternoon, we were sitting around the dinner table at my parents' house. Mom, Dad, my brother. Game's over, and we'd eat our Thanksgiving dinner. Because if we played at 10, we'd be out of the locker room by 1 o'clock. I'd be home by 1:30, and felt pretty good. Won the game. It's pretty good.
Isn't that amazing, Steve? That high school games back then, they were the same time, 12-minute quarters, and yet the game was over. I mean, we played at 8 o'clock at night on Fridays, and by 10, quarter after 10, I was out of the locker room. Now I know when Kevin and I have been doing high school football games, sometimes we're still broadcasting at 10:30, and it's just amazing how the games used to go a lot quicker. We really don't have instant replay in high school, but it just seems that maybe it's because more people are passing. That's all I can figure out.
No, it's definitely throwing the ball. My high school, we were in the Delaware Wing T.
So were we.
We'd throw the ball 7 or 8 times in the game. Clock's not stopping.
Yeah.
That's how we played.
Yeah. That's the way it was down here. You and I you're a little younger than I am, but we grew up in the same time age. So it's a basic thing. Probably things up there were just the same as they were in the Susquehanna Valley as far as timing. And I know the only offense I knew my whole life was the Delaware Wing T, because we ran it at Shikellamy, and when I came back, when I was coaching with Coach Purnell again, we ran it again. So, Steve, there's one thing. And I don't know how it was up there with your cross-town rivalries, but, there were a lot of people that their families were split between the two communities. A lot of relatives in Northumberland, a lot of relatives, they had relatives in Sunbury, the same thing with the other schools. It's almost the same situation now with Shikellamy and Selinsgrove, because there's a lot of DNA that moved down the river from Sunbury, Northumberland, that lives in Selinsgrove now, and it makes it a much interesting game. That's why that's such a big rivalry.
Well, 2 parts that are different for me is, one, the other high school no longer exists because they had to consolidate into one high school, and they picked the one I graduated from. And the other part is, when I was starting, they had just built the high school. So the first 3 games of the series were the 3 games I was involved in. So there was not any, one side to the other or whatever. No, there wasn't any of that because it was all fresh and new.
Yeah. I was thinking with the Cole Township, and Cole Township wraps around Shamokin, and I'm sure that they probably played this Thanksgiving Day game before it became the Mount Carmel game with them. But when they merged together, it seems back 1964-65, that's when all the little schools around here got linked with larger schools.
Yeah.
And Cole Township and Shamokin went together, and all of a sudden, Our Lady of Lourdes High School, their enrollment increased phenomenally. That they almost had 1,000 kids at that school because a lot of the Cole Township kids went to Lourdes, and it's just one of those things that happened. There's so much pride in the community. I think Sunbury and Northumberland might still be there's still some people that are still fighting. Who is better, and we shouldn't emerge in the whole business. But I think right now it's more good fun than it is anything.
Yeah, that's why I don't know the politics and all this. I mean, when I see something like this, I don't understand. For me, in a backdoors, in a sense of backyard rivalry, while Selinsgrove and Shikellamy aren't the last. That's not the last game of the season. At least set it up that way.
Oh yeah.
That part I don't get, but look, I may be on. This may be my 15th year of doing the show here, but I'm still an outsider. Okay, when it comes to the
I
Valley.
understand. Well, I always thought, for once it became Shikellamy, Mount Carmel was the rivalry for about 10 years, and that game was always placed last. I always thought the Selinsgrove Shikellamy game might be a great game to play on a Saturday afternoon. And but then again, I guess you're dealing with some of the colleges around here. But I think the Heartland Conference is the one that the people that get together, they determine what the schedule is going to be. And I don't think a lot of those people might even been alive when there was rivalries like this. So it's probably one of the reasons why we don't play later in the year.
Well, here's my issue on that, though. I've got this is a problem I have with this over and over again anyway, and that is the lack of common sense. I don't think it takes a genius to sit there and go, you know what, those two schools are big rivals. They're separated by just a few miles. They should play the last game of the season. Right? Is there any common sense in the room?
Well, I know what you're talking about. I look at Milton and Warrior Run. I mean, they join each other, or Milton and Lewisburg. They play each other, and usually it doesn't matter again I don't know if they ever played on Thanksgiving Day, but that was always the game that the kids looked forward to in our area here. So yeah, it's common sense once in a while is not used. I'll just say that, Steve.
Yeah. All right. I'm just saying, something that seems obvious to me is not obvious to somebody else or to the people that put the info into the computer. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Well, maybe artificial intelligence will straighten everybody out.
Well, yeah, I know, but we've tried that in the corner office with the suit all these years, and it's I got to give them credit. It is artificial. All right, so that was too easy, Dave. Too easy.
I wasn't planning on setting you up, Steve. All right, so Kevin's probably listening. He won't talk to me anymore. So.
Oh no, he'll talk to you. He's desperate to talk to you. Believe me.
Okay,
Dave. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, Steve. Have a good day.
You too. All right, half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business. Those are basic ones. Some of you don't have businesses, but for those they do, you need business insurance. Most of you drive cars. Most of you either have apartments or homes. And if you got people you're close to, you need life insurance. And not only that, there's specialty insurance. Maybe you have an RV. Maybe you have a motorcycle. Maybe you have a boat. Right? Or if you're the suit, you have a canoe. Purdy Insurance will do everything they can to save you money while making sure that you are fully insured. It's all at Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. So let's get everybody up to date on the board, then we'll talk hockey for a moment. Let's see, Big Ten tournament, Iowa. Maryland went back and forth for a long period of time. Iowa finally pulled away, won at 75-64. Maryland was at a tough spot going into that game because they played last night at 5 o'clock, and the game was over around 7. And then they had to play the early game today. Like, geez, I'm talking about, I mean, that doesn't help. Northwestern got much more of a break. They get that 23 hours between start times. So actually they got almost 24 hours between start times. Maryland didn't get that, but Iowa won the game 75-64. They move on. Washington and USC in the second game just underway. Iowa State pounded Arizona State. There's 26 seconds left. It's 91-42. Arizona State only had, I don't know, what they have, 10 first-half points, something like that. Kentucky is having to fight its guts out with LSU. It's 83-78. There's 49 seconds left. Kentucky is winning by 5. So they have a 2-possession advantage with 49 seconds left. SWAC quarterfinal, Prairie View is leading that game over Bethune-Cookman. 23-18, 5 minutes go first half. Atlantic 10, Richmond leads Loyola Chicago 27-23, 5 minutes go first half. Earlier, St. Bonaventure won as St. Bonaventure knocked out LaSalle 99-87. 99-80, I should say. NC State beat Pitt 98-88. Pitt season's over. NC State advances. The Iowa State-Arizona State game's now final. Iowa State wins 91-42. Iowa State's really good, really good team. And let's see, anybody else here? USC leads Washington early 4-2. And I think that's it for the early games. Hockey, a lot of hockey coming up this week. It starts tonight. Big Ten quarterfinals, Penn State hosting Minnesota. They'll drop the puck at 7. Penn State had a great start to the year, to the calendar year of 2026. I mean, great. They had that 41-day layoff, came out of the gate. They played great. Been a little up and down here. They've had injuries, too. A couple key injuries. So they got Minnesota tonight, Big Ten quarterfinal. Then tomorrow, believe it or not, there's hockey, but it's not Penn State. It's Princeton and UConn. The winner of that game in women's ice hockey plays Penn State at 2 o'clock on Saturday for the right to go to the Frozen Four. And where's the Frozen Four, you ask? Pagula Ice Arena at Penn State. So there's a lot of ice hockey. And I know in the coaches show tomorrow night, we not only have Mike Gambino, the baseball coach, but we are going to have Jeff Campersall on, the women's ice hockey coach. Kentucky now, 3-possession advantage, 21 seconds to go. It's 85-78. So plenty of ice hockey to talk about over the next few days here at Penn State. Men's ice hockey tonight, Big Ten quarterfinals. Minnesota dropped the puck at 7. Then the interest in the Princeton-UConn women's ice hockey game, because the winner gets Penn State Saturday here at 2 o'clock. And Penn State's hosting the Women's Frozen Four. And it's and NCAA wrestling tournament is next week in Cleveland, as a matter of fact. Cleveland. And there's one other part to it, too. Is Penn State's looking to win another national championship. They got 7 Big Ten champions and one runner-up. And I know that some people were bent out of shape about Ohio State sweeping all the awards, Coach of the Year, Wrestler of the Year, Freshman of the Year. Who cares? It's like, who won? Like, that's not. I mean, you've heard me say this about awards all the time. I have. When somebody gets recognized, we definitely talk about it. That they've been recognized. You know, especially if it happens to be a local athlete, it happens to be a Penn State athlete, we at least mention it. But my interest in who is the league MVP, look, I vote, obviously, for Player of the Year and the whole thing. I vote for those things. But my interest in finding out who wins it is, it's about, to me, which team wins. You know, it doesn't matter who the MVP of the game is, which team wins. Now, it means something to the players. They get bonuses out of it. And, so, and that's what it is for Kale. I mean, each one of these wrestlers has built to this point. Now they've got to take them one at a time and get through it next week. I always assume nothing because crazy things can happen, and I appreciate when they do win. But individual awards, here's an individual award for you. You're standing on top of the podium. That's an individual award. You earned it. You earned every step of it. I don't care who they vote for. They can vote for whomever they want. It's nice. Just like, I can't believe I'm like going, hey, it's no big deal. Who cares? Now, the Hodge Trophy, I'd care about that. The other stuff, no. So, that is where we are. How about the World Baseball Classic? All right. I did get back to the hotel last night in time to see the U.S. lose. I did turn it on just in time to see Bryce Harper fly to left with 2 runners on. I'm like, okay. And yes, I did see Aaron Judge strike out. Was I shocked? No. I was shocked the U.S. lost. I was shocked they were behind 8-0. That shocked me. Was I shocked that he struck out at the end of the game? No. No. No offense. He's never been great in that spot. I mean, he hit really well in the postseason this year in the limited time he had. But he hasn't really hit well in the postseason, and this is like postseason baseball. It's just some guys are made and built for it, and other guys, it's a struggle for them. And I think it's been a struggle for him. So, and he's had some great moments in this thing. I think I said on yesterday's show, I was watching the other night, they were playing Mexico, and he had a home run, and I said to somebody, I had just checked into the hotel, and he hit the home run. I looked over at somebody and said, well, that's the first time in my life I ever rooted for Aaron Judge. Playing for America. But let me see here. And this is an accumulation of games. I mean, he played well in the other games, but it's like, where are his numbers here? World Baseball Classics stuff here. It's nice. It doesn't mean anything to me. Let's see. I guess what Italy has to win today over Mexico? Is that the scenario? For the U.S. to stay alive? No, for goodness sakes. They get all this stuff now where they... Yeah, there we go. You got to fight your way through all this stuff. So this guy in the regular season is tremendous, right? Regular season, 368 home runs in 10 years. A 294 career average, 10 seasons. And, I mean, you're not going to get better than that. So remember, 294, okay? In the playoffs, his average is 236. And he has 91 strikeouts and 58 hits. That's not good. He's got 91 strikeouts and 246 at-bats in the postseason. That's really not good. That's a strikeout every 2.5 at-bats. See, that's what I'm talking about. Doesn't mean he doesn't have moments. He's hit 17 postseason home runs. I mean, so he's got moments. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, he came to the plate last night. I'm like going, I don't think so. This doesn't look good. So, yeah. So I guess they need Italy to win. I guess to stay alive. I don't know. And that's tonight, I think. I don't even know if any of you have been following it. So I think some people have been following it. I mean, it was certainly on TV at the hotel. And then when they were losing 8-0 last night, it kind of perked orange, like they're losing to Italy 8-0. Really? It's one thing to be losing to Japan 8-0. Italy? I didn't know they got so good. I mean, did I miss something? Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, well. All right. So we are at this time of, and this is what's driven a lot of coaches out of it. I heard somebody was talking today about how there's 4 coaches in women's basketball right now that are active have won national championships, and there are only 5 men. I listen to that. I'm driving. I'm listening. It's like, what the heck is this? You want to know why? That's is this century, the last 25 years. Roy Williams retired, and Mike Krzyzewski retired, and Jay Wright retired. These guys all went. They all retired. They all got out for the same reason. Okay, they're not into the transactional part of the sport right now. They all got out. They don't want to be a part of the transactional part. That's what it's become. It's transactional. Now, as far as much as you try to build relationships, sometimes it works, no doubt. But too often it's transactional. It's bothered the fans. In other words, college sports wants the fans to be loyal to their teams. But they're caught in a spot right now because of court rulings and so forth, where the people that fans are watching don't have to be loyal to the fans. It's transactional. And that is one of the issues they're facing in today's game. And it is a big issue that they face in today's game. As I said, April 7th to the 21st will be the transfer portal for men's basketball. Women's basketball will be the 6th to the 20th of April. We've already gone through it in football. Wild, crazy. Penn State was in a circumstance where they had to really do it this time in football. They don't do it, they don't have a team. They'd have a team, but you'd have, 40 to 50 players? I'm sorry, that doesn't work. So they had to do it en masse to get guys here to fill out the roster. That's not the way Matt's going to be doing it as time goes. That's not how he's going to do it. But he had to this time because the circumstances dictated he had to do it that way this time. College basketball's been like this for a long time. I've always talked about on this show. So often I've talked about on this show over the years. There's over 1,000 in the basketball portal. There's over 1,500 in the basketball portal. There's 2,000 in the basketball portal. That is been the transactional nature of college basketball for years. And Penn State's going to have to take advantage of that this time. They're going to have to. They're probably going to need, 4 or 5 transfers, something like that. It's probably what they're going to need. And when you are a Bucknell, for example, here's the issue. It's not you going into the portal. It's people going into the portal after your people. That's the way it is. The Queens, and I think Queens is out of Charlotte, right? Queens won their conference championship. The Queens head coach afterward was talking about that there was an SEC coach that bought a ticket to the game watching his kids. Really? This is where we are. And that's where Queens is in that position. They may have a great, I don't know much about them. They may have a great elite shooter. And And again, I don't know if they do or not. I mean, like I said, I have not seen them. Seen that happen. I don't know what they look like. But they may have, for example, an elite shooter. And you've got all these other bigger schools looking at that guy. I always use the example of Andrew Rousey. Penn State played Marquette in the 2018 NIT. Rousey played his first 2 years at UNC Wilmington. Terrific shooter. Terrific shooter. He scored over 1,000 points at UNC Wilmington. Okay. He transfers to Marquette. So UNC Wilmington takes the chance on him, brings him in. Turns out he's a terrific shooter. Marquette goes, hey, he's really good. He could really help us. And guess what? He does. He scores 1,000 points for Marquette. I mean, UNC Wilmington is the one that went out and said, hey, you know what? This guy, we think we see something in this guy. Then he plays for them for 2 years and in practical application shows what he has, and somebody else comes in and he leaves and goes there. And that wasn't a money thing. That was just a move-up thing. At that point, there was no NIL. I mean, it could have been quietly a money thing. I have no idea. But that's the way it goes. I mean, you're a smaller school. You've got bigger schools poaching your players. Welcome to the world of college basketball. Like I said, the head coach for Queens was saying, he says, he knew of an SEC assistant coach who bought a ticket to their championship game, and it was his opinion he was out there scouting his players. Okay. Oh, boy. Half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.